We're at the home of Gladys Brennan. Gladys is one of COAT's committee members and has been sponsoring our project for many years. We're here today to hear her story with the Chinese Orphans Assistance Team. Well, morning Glad, really nice talking with you today. So we're just going to find out your story with COAT. And so when did you first hear about the Chinese Orphans Assistance Team?
Well, good morning, Joan.
Morning.
Well, I think it was 2010, I saw an article in our local paper about Linda and the orphanage, and I thought, I think that'd be quite interesting to go there. So I phoned Linda and left a message, and she phoned me back, and then I went out to see Linda and had an interview, and then got my police check and all those sorts of things that you have to have. And then I went over there for 6 weeks, and there were other Gympie women there that were volunteering at the time, and I was absolutely amazed at the wonderful work that is being done. These children, most of them don't have family because they're abandoned because of their disabilities. And in China, it's really not a lot of support. At the time, there was not much support for people who had children with disabilities. And people need to work, so a lot of the children were abandoned. And of course, I never had visitors or anyone come to see them. So all the love that they get is actually from the IEs, which means auntie in China. From the IEs who look after them, and that's their surrogate mother, I guess you would call them.
Yeah.
So that was the first year, and then I went back again a couple of years later, and I went with 2 other ladies from Gympie, and it was just really, I can't emphasise enough the wonderful experience of taking the children out. The amazing thing is, because people in the community don't see many disabled children, we were like
Bit of a spectacle.
a spectacle, because the children were disabled and we were foreigners. So put the two together, it was something unusual. And in the city where the orphanage is, you don't see many foreigners. So when you go out, and anyone who's trying to learn English or want to come and talk to you to practice their English, which is a good opportunity for them, really. But we used to take the children to the markets, and then the last time I went there, the government wanted the children to mix more with people in the community. So they gave money to us, like to our committee, to take the children to eating places.
Okay.
And that was another spectacle, because when you would arrive with the children, get them out in their wheelchairs, well, everybody came to help and take photos and try to talk to us. And then they'd all be so helpful, because a lot of the eateries that we went to were not on the ground floor, so the children had to be carried up to the next level on most cases. But it was wonderful for the children to get out, because they live and play in the building. And they play in the grounds, of course, but it's really good for them to get out in the bus and go to a park or something.
And see the world, a little bit of the world.
See a bit of the world. And when I went, I took my 2 daughters the last time I went. And
how did they enjoy that?
Oh, they loved it. They couldn't believe it. They actually, one of them said to me just recently that she got such a shock because she thought it would be really sad and depressing.
You would think that.
But it wasn't. It was just everyone's so happy. And anyway, we took them to the park, and it was really quite interesting, because first of all there were children in wheelchairs, and they were with foreigners. So it was like a real attraction for people, and they came and they all wanted to help, and they put the children on the slippery slide, and like, people were just so good with them.
It's good to see some of the community, having that awareness of children like
Yes,
that.
because I don't think they realise.
No.
Once they're out of sight,
Yeah,
well, people don't really know that they're there.
yeah.
And the day that we went to the park with the children, or that one day, there was a lady there with a tiny little pup,
Yeah.
and the children from that we talk, they were just fascinated because they never see dogs.
Yeah, that's right.
And one day at the building where the children are, we went down in the lift because they live on the 10th floor, and we went down in the lift to go somewhere, and there was a cat on the grounds just outside the door, and they were just couldn't believe it because they'd never seen a cat.
Yeah. Well, how wonderful for them. That looks like a fun photo, Glad. What was happening there?
It was quite funny. I thought it was funny. Well, Chugim and I, we went for a ride over to one of the other units where some of the children were. So she drove the scooter over and I sat in the back. But when we got over there, I found it really difficult to get out. In fact, I could hardly get out, and there were some men doing some concreting there, and it was their entertainment for the day, I think, trying to get out of the carrier at the back. But anyhow, when we were going back to the orphanage, Chugim said, maybe it's best you drive and I sit in the back. So off I went. I got around the corner and I forgot that in China the traffic drives on the other side of the road from what we do, so of course I headed straight into the oncoming traffic. So Chugim's behind me, she pats me on the left shoulder. This your left shoulder, this your right shoulder. In China we drive on right side, in Australia you drive on left side. Now don't forget. So we got home safely.
Oh, good.
In fact,
So, Glad, apart from taking the children on outings, what other things did you do in the foster homes itself?
well, I used to help feed the children that couldn't feed themselves. And I'd get up in time to help take them down to school. I'd have to be at school about 8 o'clock. So I'd take them down to school. But mainly feeding them, and also, helping them to walk around and take them out into the yard at the orphanage, because they had a play area, swings and so forth.
Nice.
So we'd take them down there and they'd get a nice afternoon, in the nice sun.
Yeah.
And I also used to do a bit of sewing, and I used to do the mending, and there was always a big pile of mending.
Yeah, I saw that photo. That was a massive pile of mending.
Yes. And it was funny, one day we come home from somewhere and somebody had run up the hallway with a shirt or something that needed mending. They knew I was the mending lady. And this is the children.
Yeah.
No, it was really, and the children just loved it if you sat with them and ate the meal that they were having. They just thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And one night I sat down and had a meal with them, and then of course with my bad knees and everything I had trouble getting up.
Oh dear.
So of course the table is very close to the floor, they're not on a high table. So I leaned on the table and to push myself up, and the whole table tipped up.
Oh no.
The food went everywhere. And the little boys, they just thought it was hysterical.
They laughed.
They laughed and laughed. And the next day we were out somewhere, and one of them, I know he was telling the story because he would point to me, and then he'd laugh, and they'd all laugh. And I know he was telling them what happened, because I think his food ended up on his head or something. But they didn't mind that. They thought it was quite funny.
Oh, how lovely. Yeah.
When my two daughters were there, we decided we'd have a party.
Yep.
Or a fun afternoon. So we went to the markets and we bought all these funny hats and whistles and glasses and so forth. And they just absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And my daughter would pretend to kick her foot up in the air and the shoe would fall off. It was all that act, of course. And
Yeah.
the little boys just thought that was great.
Hilarious.
They laughed and laughed at that.
Yeah.
And they'd all do little tricks. And we found some old clothes in the cupboards, and they dressed up in these sorts of funny things, and they just had a great time.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I know now, you know, due to COVID, that we haven't been able to travel, and Linda hasn't been able to travel there, and so I'm sure that the children are missing that, you know, interaction with the ones that she knew. So do you miss not being able to go?
Oh, I do. I'd love to be able to go back, but I think at my age it might be a bit beyond me now, because it's not an easy trip. And once you get there, it's lovely when you get there, but it's a big effort to
Yeah,
get there.
it's a lot of stages of travel to get there.
Yes, and a lot of walking.
Yeah, yeah. I know that
fact-
would be difficult.
In fact, the last time I went, when we got to John Joe, they'd upgraded the airport, and we took so long to get from the plane that they were ready to close the doors. Like we were nearly locked in, but they came looking for us.
Oh.
But it was such a long way from
Yeah.
the plane,
Yeah.
and they don't have at that airport. They don't have a walkway. You have to go down the plane and walk across the tarmac.
Yeah. Well, that's a real sacrifice that you made. You know, that's lovely that you did that.
Oh, I loved it. I didn't see it as a sacrifice. I saw it as a really wonderful experience.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And today you're still a member of our committee and helping
Yes.
encourage and with prayers and so forth. So we really appreciate all the hard work that you've done over the years.
I can't do much in the way of computers and so forth, but I'm certainly interested in what's happening. And the
That's
staff
fun.
over there are just wonderful.
Yeah, we have good staff there now, don't we?
And I said to Linda one day, I said, the staff that work at the orphanage really have quite a good job. Compared with a lot of other women, they work in tyre factories and, you know, dirty work.
Oh, yeah.
And Linda said yes, but the thing is, because of what the children they're looking after, they're not really well respected,
Yeah.
because the children are
Yeah, being, disabled and so on. They,
outcasts, or
Yeah.
they're not. She said, even though they love the children and so forth, but she said that they're not well respected in the community,
yeah,
which is a shame, because it's wonderful what they do.
exactly. Yeah, they do. It's hard work.
It is
You know,
hard
we see
work.
how hard work it is, you
That's
know,
right.
especially ones that can't walk and, you know,
Yes.
showering them and dressing them, it's difficult.
Yes.
So, yeah, we value the work that they do.
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yeah, so we value all the work that you've done for us, Glad. So
Thank
thank
you,
you
Jane.
for talking with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.